What are we talking about today, Jake?
We're talking about delusion.
What the fuck is that?
What's delusion, you ask? Well, it's not that thing that your grandparents have. Delusion is an interactive horror theater experience here in the good old L.A.
Or as I call it, Hell A.
Oh, L.A.
You'll know if you drive here during rush hour.
The city of angels, as they say.
Yes. Ironically.
Satanic angels. Angels of the dark.
And what is interactive theater?
Yeah, so interactive theater, I like to think of it this way. If you're going to a theater show, you go with hundreds, sometimes even 1,000 audience members sitting in the seats. You're looking up at the same stage, watching a show of actors, and of course there's lighting and stunts and special effects sometimes. You're watching it, though, safely from within the audience. Interactive theater, you're not safely watching the show from your seat, looking up at the stage like there's a separation. You are playing a character who is experiencing this story from a very specific point of view. And there's a variety of different ways to experience it. There are certain things that you got chosen for in this experience that I didn't, and vice versa, right? So each of us got to experience something slightly different.
So these characters, the actors, are interacting with us directly. They're talking to us. They're asking us questions, asking us to do things. We become part of the story. We're not just observing it. We're part of the creation of that story.
Yes.
We're living it out.
Yes.
It's like being in a movie.
It is like being in a movie. There's still a feeling of security and safety, knowing there's no repercussions to your character, but it still feels more tense being right there in the experience, sort of just being thrown into all these different circumstances with all these different kind of scary, unreliable characters. You don't know who's lying to you or who's actually trying to help you along this story.
It's the most limited POV you can get in a story.
Yes.
Because it's limited to your own knowledge, which is zero.
Which is nothing.
When you start the story. In fact, in this latest iteration, which we went to a couple days before...
The Red Castle.
Yes, the Red Castle.
Show off that
I
shirt.
thought I had some schmutz on my...
No.
The Red Castle,
I just wanted to showcase the shirt for everybody.
Yes. We went a couple days before filming. You're going to have to wait another year before they come back. Sorry about that. But it's worth the wait. And maybe you'll be inspired to go seek out other experiences that are running in the meanwhile. But in this experience, we were cast as patients with memory loss in a mental institution.
It's not too far away from reality for me.
Or me.
But so it was easy for me to get in my role, honestly.
Yes.
They told me to clear my mind and close my eyes. That was like the first thing they told us to do. It's kind of scary how easy it was for me to do that. I opened my eyes and I was like, oh, where am I? Forgot where I was for a second. But yes, it was. This year was a lot of fun. And so it's important to note that even though people have to wait a whole year to go to Delusion again, to your point, it's a new story every single year with a new location typically, right?
Yes.
So we're sorry to say, even though we might spoil certain things for you here,
it doesn't matter.
It's not going to exist next year.
Yeah.
It'll never exist again, sadly.
They're going to do another story.
But that's kind of the exciting thing about interactive horror experiences as well.
It's a living experience.
It's a living experience. And so once you've had it, it's there and then it's gone.
Yes. Fleeting.
And so now it's just a memory.
Yes.
It's just a memory.
Yes. And to that, I think we should drink.
Let's drink. What are we drinking today, Kyle? What you got over there?
Me, I got Night Owl Pumpkin Ale.
Another Elysian.
We're finishing off the box.
We're finishing off the box. These are the last two?
These are the last two.
That makes me sad.
It does make me sad as well.
I'll miss you. I'll miss you, Elysian.
You'll also
Dark
not
of
be able
the
to get
Moon.
these probably. Sorry.
For another year. But Elysian, Dark of the Moon, Pumpkin Stout. But I mean,
something to look forward to.
If these special edition holiday limited edition series is any sort of indicator for the quality of their beer, it's a very good indicator. Yes. I need to try more by this brand.
Yes. Just like Delusion, the Elysian seasonal brews are fleeting. The Japanese have a term for this, mono no aware. It's the sense of impermanence in the world.
That's deep.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about that.
That's deep. I'm going to cry. There's a tear in my eye. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to the Japanese and the term you just said.
So this is the second year that you've done this.
Mm-hmm. And this is your third year, Kyle.
So how did this year compare?
I loved both years, yet last year and this year. It was kind of weird being thrown into it last year because from my understanding of the story last year, I don't even remember what the name of it was called. I don't know if you do, but I know last year's story.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I do remember the story very well, which is that they put a collection of the 4 or 5 previous years of Delusion, and they mashed it all together and made it like very self-aware. It was like the Scream of Delusion years.
This year, they went back to a more traditional storyline.
Yeah,
which surrounded this insane asylum, which was located at a beautiful mansion by USC.
The Stimson House.
Stimson House, yeah.
Stimson House, that's what I believe it's called. I don't think we put it in our notes, but the Stimson House.
I think that's right.
Right by the Doheny Mansion or whatever it's called, which is
St. Mary's, some university, St. Mary's.
And there was a huge Catholic church on the corner right there.
Yes.
Which was impressive.
Yes.
The buildings in that area are just so impressive. It's you can tell it's a historical part of Los Angeles for sure. I mean, this building, the Stimson House, was built in 1890 for, I remember you saying, $150,000, which at the time was a lot of money. And
I think it was the most expensive private residence in LA when it was built.
That's crazy. So yeah, if you do the inflation calculation, it roughly goes to over $5 million is what it costs to make, not to buy, just to make it, right? So I mean, once you have something made, then you can upsell it like crazy. So, but just to make it, the materials and the labor alone cost over $5 million to make that place, which is just insane to think of. So yeah. Anyways, it was a beautiful location, the Red Castle. Very fitting name for it because that location was hauntingly beautiful.
So I wouldn't say it's scary. It can be suspenseful, but it's fun. It's like a fun dark fantasy.
Yeah, and I think they actually, especially this year, I noticed they interjected a lot of humor, a lot of humorous moments. I mean, there was a part where this old blind lady character is involved, and then someone in our group had to, after we knocked her out with pills, some sort of medication, after we knocked her out by giving her some sort of medication, one of the actors suggested one of us dress up as Mama, this old lady character, in order to sneak to the next room. And it was a very humorous moment where she's like, "Quick, put this on." Yes, the resemblance is uncanny. Like they were very aware of how silly.
There was a lot of humor in this. I had my own "what is big" moment. For those loyal listeners, they'll know what I'm talking about. Where I was asked to read something in very dim light in a tight kind of calligraphy that was difficult to read.
Old school.
And I read it. I had to read it out loud in front of everybody. So, if you're an introvert like me, you know how painful that is. And I was like, the D-re of and the actor was like, "You can't even read decrees." They said that to me. The E looked like a C. The C looked like an E. It looked. I couldn't tell what was going on.
To be fair, even though Kyle's geriatric eyes might have failed him that day,
I think I might just be dyslexic. I don't know. Maybe.
I was right next to him, and when he said "diri," I was just like, I don't know that word, but it's what it says. It's like, that's what I thought it said that when you read it.
My voice, right? I was like, "diri."
Yeah, I heard you say that, and I was confused as well because it did look like diri. It looked like diri.
What is big?
What is big? And when you picked it up, a dead bird flew out of it and hit me in the foot. So I went down and I picked it up.
I didn't even notice
fake dead bird. A fake dead bird.
I felt so self-conscious after being called out.
You noticed the dead bird that flew out of the
yeah for being dyslexic or
So what's the test?
Illiterate.
What's the test for finding out if you're dyslexic or not?
I don't know. I think you have to watch a couple of TikTok videos these days. Is that it? That's the test, right?
That's where your diagnosis comes from.
That's where I get all my diagnoses from, is from watching TikTok videos.
How do I know if I have lysdexia?
Exactly. Anywho.
Yes.
How would you... So it's expensive to go there. You're looking at north of $100.
Yeah, over $100.
Yeah, it all depends on time of day, time of the week. How would you convince somebody who is on the fence about if they should or shouldn't go do this? What would you say to them?
I'd probably just bully them and call them a bitch until they did it. That's what I'm doing to my cousin right now. I'm trying to get him to go, so I might go again. I'm trying to get him to go. And he was like, "Oh, I don't know." And I was like, "What are you, bitch?" And he's like, "No, I'm not scared or anything."
I think the thing is that, to me, why it's worth the price is that it's just a very unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I wish it was like 10 people or 8 people instead of 12. I think 12 is a little too big personally, but you're still having a very personal experience. I had multiple interactions with the characters where they would talk to me, interact with me. They'd ask me to do things.
Yeah.
You had a similar experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really great how they do a good job of knowing when you want to be involved with something because it being a horror experience. And I know this because I have been a scare actor before. And so you are pretty much trained to go after the people that give you the biggest scare because it gets the best reaction out of the whole crowd when someone's easily scared. And it's the most satisfying personally. However, with Delusion, what I love about them is they're not just choosing the people who are the biggest scaredy cats to go and do this thing or that thing to get a reaction out of them. They do a really good job of making sure everyone's being actively involved in the narrative in some way. Even like a small touch, like we were moving from one room to another and a character told me, when you get to the next room, and he only told it to me. I think someone else might have heard, but he only
said it to you.
Yeah, he only said it to me. He's like, if she asks, blah, 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 shot me, right? Like killed me. And I was like, okay. And it's really cool because it's like, yeah, he said that only to me. Maybe someone heard, but he told me to tell the other character that he got shot or something like that, which was, I thought, one of my favorite touches. That was towards the beginning of the experience, and that was that was the first thing that happened where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited.
That's one thing that I'd say, it's not like HHN where, you're doing the conga line through the mazes, which, that's fun.
Yeah.
But this is a similar price point, but this is also, it's an hour long and it's much more personalized.
Definitely.
You will interact with the actors. The characters we played had psychic abilities, and one of the characters asked me to reach out my hand, just me, and move a bed out of the way.
Yeah.
It was blocking a door. They told me to move a bed out of the way, and it was fun doing that. It makes you think of playing make believe as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of saying it. It brings back. I think if I don't know if you ever looked over at me during the whole experience, you probably did at some point, unavoidable. But I just had like this stupid fucking grin on my face the whole time. I was like, like my mouth's wide open. I'm like looking around like.
Me too.
I had this stupid fucking smug grin on my face because I was just so happy the whole time. Because it's like you said, childhood imagination. It kind of feels like playing a story when you're a kid with your friends and being like, oh, I'm going to be the pirate, you're going to be this person, and we're going to dish it out, and stuff like that. I loved that as a kid, and this does feel, it has a nostalgic feel to it, even though there's nothing I've ever done like it quite like it before.
And the thing is that, I could see people being like, well, I don't know, I'm not comfortable with improving. I'm more introverted. I'm very introverted and socially awkward. I felt fine doing it because they work really hard to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
The actors work really hard to do that, and they put a lot of effort into designing the rooms and designing the story. You get swept away in it. You're not thinking about like, oh, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to react in this situation? They allow it to become second nature to you and allow you to become engrossed in the story where you're not thinking about that. So I really love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I really loved that too. And to tie in sort of how I was talking about earlier about the humor mixed in, as well as with the interactive part of it, one of the members of our party specifically, but two members overall during the entire experience, went missing towards the beginning. One of them was my girlfriend's little sister, and we had to go into the next. We were away from them for like a good 5 minutes, and then we turned in the next room, and my girlfriend's little sister's like at the piano, and one of the characters is forcing the guy to go through a stage play that she wrote, a reenactment of the tragic death that happened on the grounds at the Red Castle. And that was one of my favorite moments because it was both interactive and hilarious, because it was a melodramatic play and she's obviously intentionally overacting with this guy that she's forcing to act and play the other part. And every time there's a happy moment, she was telling my girlfriend's little sister, play the happy chord. And she plays the happy chord and it's like, ah, and because she's at the piano, and then she like, play the sad chord, boom. And she goes, ah, and she starts like fake crying, right? I just thought that was very funny. Yeah. And it was also just awesome the way they're getting people to interact and how they're getting, us as the audience, not so safe audience, but I don't even want to call us the audience. We're literally a character. It says, if you go onto the Delusion website right now, it says play your part. That's the big thing.
You're not the audience. You're participants.
Yeah, you're a participant. Exactly.
And even your girlfriend and my wife got selected to go into another room too. So
yes, they did.
It happens a lot.
Yes.
I love that. And we got split up at the end and did different things. You feel like anything is possible in this scenario.
Exactly. You never know when you're going to be split up from the group. It does happen. It's not scary.
Yeah,
scary.
not at all. Yeah.
There was one part, which was when we were getting fucking chased by someone who was trying to eat us. And I'm not going to lie, that shit was kind of like heart pounding, suspenseful.
It was fun though.
It was fun. It was fun. I think if you're someone who's sensitive to these experiences in general, it might be a little overwhelming. But
I would say it's not. It's tamer than HHN as far as scare levels.
No, I think so too. There's not like any jump scares.
Yeah,
really.
There's not a lot of that, but it's more like dark fantasy sort of. Then it's not like jump scares.
Yeah, it's more about the immersion more than it's about the scare.
It's more spooky than scary.
It's definitely more spooky, yeah. Very spooky. I mean, one of my favorite parts was we were in a room and we were following a character that was sleepwalking, and it was so quiet in that moment, and it was a small little touch, but there was an open door in the room, and nothing came out of it. But there was an open door, and I just kept looking into the room, even though I knew I was supposed to be paying attention, because there was all these things shrouded in blankets, like white sheets.
Oh, yes.
And I couldn't help but keep looking over there because I was like,
waiting for something to
what
move.
the fuck is going to happen? Yeah. Because there was just this wide open door, but nothing ever happened. But it was just the idea and me noticing that it was there that added
the possibility was there.
The possibility was there that adds to the immersion, because there's more happening than just what room you're in at any given moment. There's something happening or potentially happening right next door, right, or in the next room you're walking into. You come straight into a scene with pretty much no context other than what they tell you.
So to just put a pin on it.
Yes.
This is not a haunted house.
It's not a haunted house. No, you don't just walk through, get scared, and keep going and scream and keep going and running through the thing or anything like that. You have to be actively engaged.
You got to play along.
You have to play along.
That's why it's fun.
So it is different. You can't just yell or scream whenever you want, just like that's probably involuntary when you're in a haunted house.
Yeah.
But still.
Screaming was okay.
Occasionally, yes.
Yes. We had a couple screamers in our group. I think your sister, your girlfriend's sister.
Yes, my girlfriend's little sister. Towards the end there, definitely, because she was in the back of the group. She was running with my wife. She was running with your wife, and they were in the back of the group towards the end as we were getting chased out, and I just heard screaming.
Yeah, and I thought it was Mulatu, but it was.
I think it was mostly. It was mostly my girlfriend's little sister.
It was your girlfriend's sister. So this has been around since 2011. This was created by John Braver, who, interestingly enough, is a stunt performer.
Yes, shares a connection.
Because you're a former stunt performer.
I wasn't the most experienced stunt performer per se, but I did do a lot of just background work. I did a lot of special effects, pyrotechnics, and a lot of stunt safety work, stunt coordinator stuff in behind the scenes. I know I've acted in a few things as a stunt performer, but mostly it was background safety stuff. But we have a connection there, so I have a lot of respect for him and the effort he puts into this, because there's quite a few interesting stunt set pieces that exist.
And just to give everyone a little context, so Mr. Braver was in Iron Man, Dark Knight Rises, and the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie as a stunt performer, including and also many other projects. So what stands out to you about the stunts in Delusion, just looking back at the 2 years now that you've gone through the show?
Obviously he's a very good stunt performer and a very good stunt man, and you can know that because, first of all, we've never been a part of a group together where anyone got injured, first of all, that's the number one thing when it comes to stunts, is trying to do it safely. Safety is always number one. Number two is let's make it look as real as possible.
There was an interesting moment. So in the first year that we went together, when they had that meta storyline, which was taking place in the storyline of we're going to look into the mind of the creator of Delusion, there was a plant in our group. A plant meaning an actor pretending to be one of us. And they started out, they were alone. It's funny because we actually, if you remember this, Jake, we chatted them up a bit because we felt bad.
Before we even started.
We felt bad because they were all alone. Everybody else was with somebody, and we were like, we wanted to chat them up and everything, and they seemed nice. But then as it started, they were the annoying guest. They talked to the first actor. They said, they said, oh, it's like last year or something, or they were doing things that
Yeah.
would be annoying to an actor.
Yes.
To like get them, because it's got to be really fucking hard to stay in character when you're dealing with non-actors, with audience members, and you can't control what they're gonna do. But they were doing everything that you would think would get somebody out of character and not able to do it, not able to perform well. They were just being annoying, and I was thinking, and you were probably thinking the same thing, is this really sucks that they're doing this to this poor actor. And then a minute later, we're walking, and the actor sent them off to like go, to get them away or something, while he's trying to talk to us.
I thought they were just annoyed with them.
Exactly. We think they're just annoyed with them. And then we start walking by and we see her getting yeeted over a fence.
Yeah, by vampires.
Just thrown over a fence. And it looked good.
It looked so good.
And then you're like, wait a minute, they're not one of us or something?
Yeah.
You took us... It in a good way, took me out of it, because I was like, wait a minute, what?
They're not one of us, yeah. I knew.
I love that.
I knew definitely they weren't one of us, because I was like, there's no way they would just let a random person do a stunt.
Yeah, of course.
And it was it was well acted as well from the performer. So, yes, it was pretty awesome.
Thrown over.
They got yeeted. Yeah, they got yeeted over like a garden hedge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome. And it just goes to show that John Braver, the creator of Delusion, also stuntman.
And he does the stunts for Delusion.
Yes, he obviously does the stunts for Delusion. You can see he knows what he's doing when it comes to that stuff. And it adds a lot to the experience. Not just because it's a cool spectacle piece, but those little details and putting in the extra work to do that stuff adds so much to the level of immersion.
Oh, definitely.
Like when it happened this year, when like the first big stunt happened this year, it immediately lets everybody know, yes, this is like a premium experience. It's a premium cost, $120 something bucks at the lowest. And on their really peak days during the Halloween season, on like Saturdays, on weekends, it's going to be upwards of $160, $170. And there's a VIP option. It's a premium experience, but from the first 5 minutes alone, you already know, if you had any doubt in your mind, you already know after the first 5 minutes, oh shit, we're in good hands. Every money we spent for this is going to be worth it.
Oh, definitely. And just to add on to your point about immersion, in this particular case, in this year's show, we played these characters who have psychic abilities. And one of the first things that we do is we're told by one of the characters to all together use our powers to throw another character away. And when we do that, we all push together and this person goes flying back.
Yeah. And the nice thing is they said, tell them to go away. So you have no idea what they're going to, so I thought at first, because they said, tell them to put your hand out and tell them to go away, I thought it was just going to be a mind control thing. And then I'm like, go away. And then he goes fucking flying. And I was like, oh shit. So it was a really fun, exciting moment.
Yeah. I love that, because that makes the premise come alive.
Definitely. I just want to say this was the first interactive horror experience I've ever done, and it sets the bar really high for me. Sets the bar really high. I want to do more. This makes me want to do more. I wish they had even more than just one story going on every year, because I would easily go do a few others. But also just the knowing that they have only one a year, they're going to put a lot of effort into it, because it's just like making a movie, right? They probably spend a whole year planning. So you're going to be in really good hands in terms of just they're putting a lot of thought into this. So I want to keep going out, seeking more experiences like this, but it makes me so skeptical, because I'm like, are they all as good as this? Probably not, because the production quality is just impressive.
Oh yes, definitely. I feel like the closest thing to this experience that I've had is escape rooms.
A really good escape room.
And there's some escape rooms, especially in the Los Angeles area. I've done a lot of escape rooms. I've done probably definitely north of 100 escape rooms.
You've done way more than I have.
And the LA area has a lot of horror escape rooms across the board. And it also has a fair number of horror escape rooms with actors in them.
Yeah.
Great ones including The Basement, which is north of Los Angeles, and towards Inland Empire there's Hope's End, which is the Ministry of Peculiarities, which is amazing. I highly recommend that. It's just this wonderful gothic sort of ghost story.
Nice. I need to do that one.
I was
asking you about that one. I want to do it this year too.
You need to do that.
My favorite so far has been The Weeping Witch.
The Weeping Witch.
I did that for my birthday last year. It was my birthday celebration.
The Weeping Witch. I love that. That's
It's in Orange County.
Yes, that is at Crossroad Escapes. That's
Crossroad.
at Crossroad.
It's a Crossroad game. Yeah.
So The Weeping Witch is at Crossroad Escapes in Orange County. That one's wonderful. There's another great one that's out toward Inland Empire called The Last Supper at Quest Tavern.
I've heard of Quest.
That one's wonderful. And the thing that's nice about these, again, it's like you become part of the story.
Yeah.
And some escape rooms can be very puzzle oriented, very heavy on the puzzles. The ones with the actors tend to not be as much, although obviously they have puzzles. But what I love about the ones with the actors is that you get a lot more interaction with the story that you're part of. Yeah. And the ones that have really great production design, you really feel like you're part of that story. If you listen to this episode and you're like, I don't want to wait another year.
Yeah.
Or
go to an escape room.
I don't live in LA. Why would I want to live in LA? That's a horrible place. Look for an escape room group on Facebook. Look for recommendations for horror themed. And if you're lucky, maybe there's one with an actor in it. And then you'll get a taste of what this is. And I think that great escape rooms, even without actors in them, can really immerse you in the story that you're exploring for that hour. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's something else. We'll have to do another episode just about escape rooms.
Yeah, seriously, for sure. I need to do a few more, so I'll have more to talk about. But yeah, this was great. And if you're not in the LA area and you can't enjoy Delusion next year, go, like Kyle said, go search, look for haunts or specifically interactive or escape room experiences in your area. Support the small businesses, right? Because we want to keep them alive.
And tell us about them.
And tell us about them. We'll travel. We'll go.
If you think it's worth talking about,
yes, tell us about them. Is there something is there a horror experience in North Dakota I don't know about that's going to blow my mind? Tell me. We'll go there. We'll meet you there.
We're always looking for the new thing.
I'm always itching for it. Yes. I'm very impatient.
I'm always itching. It's because of all the bed bugs, though.
Mine's just a general anxiety and addiction towards high dopamine inducing experience.
It's going to be bed bugs now after sitting on my couch for the last hour.
But this has been a great episode. Anything else, Kyle?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone out there, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Smash the like button.
It's a cliche thing to hear on YouTube, but it really will help us. So please like and subscribe. If you really love the episode, share it with people you think might be interested in this.
Yeah. Share it with your friends.
All right.
Good shit.
I got